So hello, today we will talk about glassware. There are different wine glasses and different wine glasses is suitable for different kinds of wines. To start with, a wine glass should be in glass and it should be in transparent glass and it should have a stem. There is a lot of wine glasses on yachts that comes from fancy crystal manufacturers like Christophe or Swarovski that can be beautifully designed, and especially in cut crystal, and they can be magnificent as artworks, but they're not the best companion to a wine because you will not be able to see the color properly, and often they're much thicker than a glass like this would be. Also, a wine glass should always be more wide at the bowl and a bit more narrow at the top. There are some, if you would go to a typical French cafe, there's the gobelet parisien, it was called, because it was a very traditional wine glass. It just goes like this and it is straight here and quite short, and when you get a glass of rosé they fill it up to the brim almost, and that's the worst possible way you can serve a glass of wine. You cannot spin the glass around, it cannot collect the aromas in the wine and then deliver it to you. It will just go away instantly. So that's for the basic of wine glasses. But then there are also other differences. If we start, like if we would go through a dinner, perhaps you will start your dinner with an aperitif, a sparkling wine or champagne. And then a champagne glass should look like this. A narrow flute, so you call it a flute or yes. Perhaps you've seen this more old style that was popular in the 20s and 30s that are bowl-like and quite short. They were made for the sweeter styles of champagne and also with a bit of less bubbles. They were said to be formed after the breast of Marie Antoinette. I don't know who invented that, but that's a saying. And they are not, though they can look quite festive and traditional, they're not the best companion to a sparkling wine, because since there's a lot of air coming in, the mousse or the sparkling or the CO2 will just get away quite quickly. And but while in a glass like this, you will be able to see the mousse stream upwards in quite a nice way and for much longer. So that's why you should always have a glass like that. So now the bubbles can continue streaming like this for a much longer time, and especially when you pour more, given that the glass is narrow. And perhaps I didn't say clearly in the beginning, but a glass should always be thin. That's one of the main characteristics of a wine glass as well, apart from being in glass and having a stem, that they should be very thin. That feels much more elegant and refreshing, and really put the wine, focus on the wine. That's for champagne. For white wine, so we have a white wine glass and a red wine glass here. The white wine glass should be smaller than the red wine glass, and the reason for this is that you will serve the wine cooler. And as a parenthèse, say parenthèse? There's an article about serving temperature, and we will go through serving temperature in another episode as well. But you serve the white wine cooler, so that's why if you would serve white wine in a red wine glass and you would serve it to the proper level, it will be too much wine to be able to drink quick enough for it not to go lukewarm almost. So that's why you have it in a smaller glass. And a second reason is that you don't need as much air for a white wine generally that you do for a red wine. So even if you pour like this for the white wine, you pour it to the widest level, something like that. You can spin it around properly, but the amount allows for a nice glass of wine without getting the time to get to be too warm. And the aromas of, oh, this has been open for 2 days and it still smells lovely actually. For the red wines, it's important to have a bigger bowl. The red wines have generally much more power in them and more possibility of aromas than, it's more power in them than the white wines, and it needs more oxygen to liberate all those aromas. So that's why a bigger glass is necessary for red wines. Where is the red wine? Here. No. Oh, anyway, doesn't matter. So a red wine you will pour like this. Oh, I can have it. Do you mind?
It's in the pot.
Oh, it's in the pot. Well, okay. I'll just take the decanter. So a red one you will serve to the same level like that. And so now there's plenty of space for the wine to spin around and to develop all those lovely aromas. If you don't have a place on your yacht, because of course there's a lot of, I know that storage space is a big issue on many yachts, then I would recommend to get something in between, perhaps something like this or a bit bigger, to do both so it's both works for both white and red wines. When you come to dessert wines, it should be a smaller glass. Both for dessert wines and fortified wines, you tend to drink much less of a fortified wine and also of a sweet wine. To have a glass like this of port, that will be too much alcohol and too strong. If you want that much, it's nicer to take 2 small glasses than a huge glass of port. And also for Sauterne, which is a sweet wine from Bordeaux, that will be way too much. It's too heavy and too rich to drink a big glass like that. It would be possible to serve it in something like this if you're out of storage space, like in a perhaps a lesser amount in a white wine glass. Definitely not in a big glass like this, but ideally it should be a smaller glass. So for the sweet wine, well, it's too sweet to have much of it, so you will just pour much like this. And for the fortified wines, another reason why you want it in smaller glasses is that the alcohol fumes are quite intense, and if you would give a lot of air to like a glass of Madeira or port and you spin that around and you stick your nose in it, it almost hurts your nose because there are too much alcoholic fumes so that's why it should be in a smaller glass. It can even be a shorter glass than this. This is not the ideal. So port wine glasses tend to be a bit shorter, and at least they have to be smaller. And then when you smell, it doesn't bring out so much alcohol as it would in this a bigger glass like this. So this is the main range of glasses. Then there is a few companies who has been specializing in wine glasses. One company is Riedel. They have like a wine glass for not every wine, but they have for Bordeaux style. This is their Bordeaux glass. They have Chianti glasses. They have Tempranillo glasses, and for Chardonnay and for Riesling and for different styles of wine. And that is very exciting, and it's, in my opinion, Riedel is one of the most, it's definitely the leader in terms of wine glass production. It's an Austrian company, and the glasses that are not handmade, they're not very expensive, so it's really something I recommend you to look into, and to really make the most out of the wine. And as always, if you have any questions, I'm very willing to help you with that. Thank you for listening.